February 22nd, 1943. Members of the White Rose Resistance, Sophie Scholl, Hans Scholl, and Christoph Probst, are executed in Nazi Germany. Your 64-year-old aunt notes on Facebook that they are, quote, just as violent as those SS guys, citing no evidence.
Welcome to The Revisionists. I'm Brian Flynn.
I'm Zach Powers.
And, hey, welcome back to the show, the wonderful, the delightful Katie Bowen,
Hello.
Everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Coming at you with that heat. It's 2:45 in the afternoon.
I know.
What a time to be alive. Hey, listeners, if you're new to the show, the thing we do each time is we take a topic from history. One person presents the official, government-sanctioned, kid-tested, mother-approved version of events, and another person comes up with a bonkers, batshit, crazy pants alternate history. And the winner becomes the true story going forward of this little thing we call life.
You trying to steal my heat, but not quite. You can't match my marble energy.
Yeah, I didn't want to like totally bite your style, but I wanted to bite it a little bit, just get a little taste of it. That's not how I wanted to say that at all. Last time, listeners, was the last in our mini-series on famous writers, Edna St. Vincent Millay, and I can report that the alternate history has won the voting, where it was basically Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, that I also forgot major plot aspects of Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Brian serendipitously accidentally included elements of Home Alone 2 Lost in New York before the part that was supposed to be Home Alone 2 Lost in New York.
Yeah, exactly. That was really accidentally one of my stronger alternate histories through no fault of my own.
Fell into it.
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
Much like Edna St. Millay fell down those stairs.
Take that, Edna St. Vincent Millay.
That is how she died in both versions of events.
So we're moving on to our most thoroughly modern miniseries. We are going to be spending the next several episodes talking about the space race, y'all. Don't know why I said it like that.
It's the race to get into space, not a race of people who are called... if you're
aliens.
unfamiliar with history, if this is really 101 for you, we're going to go back
then you
to
have
the
chosen
basics.
poorly. So the our first topic, there's going to be definitely a mix of say major Soviet figures and Americans and all that.
Might be a Nazi or two in there too.
Yeah, guess which side they're on. It's ours.
Have you heard of Operation Paperclip? I don't know. Could be a topic.
I mean, there is definitely a Werner von Braun episode. I can't remember if I wrote down Paperclip. Anyway, but we'll touch on that. So our first topic is a little fella by the name of Konstantin Tsiolkovsky. We're also getting back into the Russian names.
Back into Russia. Why we choose themes that have to do with Russia so frequently, I don't know. I assume it's because we're supported by Russian bots on Twitter.
We're not supposed to get
and our listenership is mostly Russian bots. RT and Putin have a lot of stake in this. It's actually the number one lost cause of his portfolio.
Yeah.
Why is the revisionist worth $15 billion.
Yeah, $15 billion in sticker sales.
Yeah.
Um,
The deep cut, because Putin is maybe the richest man on earth, but he hides all of his money behind other people. So there's like this violinist he's friends with who's worth like $20 billion, but it's just Putin's money. And he's like, hold this for me so people don't think I'm as rich.
That's a hard place to be in.
Also, I mean, a great choice
Dictator,
if you're
yeah.
a violinist, though, like trying to make it.
Yeah, seriously.
I can't
I thought
imagine.
you were going to praise Putin there for a second. A great leader.
Great.
I think he
strong-
should just have more influence on picking the leaders of other countries, if anything.
You know what? Do we really need a country of Georgia? We already have a state. So, I don't know, make it Russia or something.
I think
Obviously kidding. Jesus Christ.
Ukraine is long in the tooth. I think it's past its prime. It needs a reinvention.
When was the last time anyone actually thought about Moldova? Fair. But Zach, you're going to be doing the actual history.
Yep.
And then Katie, you'll be doing the alternate.
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
So whenever you're ready, take it away.
Okay, so Konstantin Tsiolkovsky was born September 17th, 1857. You might note that date as a long time before we went to the moon. An event he was not alive for, slight spoiler alert. But he is considered one of the founders of modern rocket science. He grew up in a middle-class household with an Orthodox upbringing. He was son of a teacher and minor government official. And just had a bit of a sad sack of a life for the first part, I guess. He got scarlet fever at age 10 and lost a lot of his hearing. His mother died when he was 13. I almost said died at 13, which would have been like, I guess
Russian.
possible back then, but, you know, quite a feat. He was not let into school because of his hearing loss, and so he was a self-taught early astrophysicist. He became...
Sorry, just the phrase self-taught astrophysicist is kind of like, is that cool? Do we like that?
I guess. How else would you, especially
that
when
point,
it didn't
yeah.
really exist as a profession.
It's true. Yeah, that's fair. Someone had to do it.
For a lot of his life, he was semi-reclusive. But he was deeply interested in math, physics, and, surprisingly, space travel.
Mm-hmm.
He worked with some prominent cosmism enthusiasts, which was like this ideology in Russia at the time that was sort of a cultural philosophy, but also advocated for eventual space travel. He came to believe that colonizing space could lead to utopia, and in time, possibly even immortality for humans. Now, granted, his scale for this was like thousands of years, so the degree to which he has been proven wrong is, like, not yet.
Still, technically, the jury's out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only been like 150, like 160 years. We could still make it happen.
We can still find that sweet, sweet immortal juice. Yeah. On the parts of the moon we haven't been to yet.
Yeah. He's a big fan of Jules Verne, which seems obvious. He conceived a great number of ideas. One of his early ones was a space elevator. It might surprise you to learn that such a thing was never made. And it is what it sounds like. It is functionally an elevator that goes to space. It was inspired by the Eiffel Tower's design.
Okay. So just like not airtight, I'm guessing then.
No, but he did a lot of stuff that was better. Although that and the picture of his first spaceship, if you look it up, his first design for a spaceship is pretty wild. It's like this weird orb with a bunch of random shit in it.
I'm looking this up. I mean, you could keep... Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
His father was pretty worried because he was a very strange and sort of reclusive fella. His father worried that he could not support himself and brought him back to the house back home to live at 19. After hearing that he had been overworking and starving himself out in the real world.
And look, I'm seeing that first spaceship. It's not worth starving yourself over.
Yeah, well, early days. He was 19. What are you going to do? We all believe some crazy shit at night. People believe in Ayn Rand at 19. It's not the worst thing to draw a weird-ass spaceship. So he began working at a school near Moscow as a teacher, where he married Varvara Sokolova, I'm going to say, and continued to work privately in making discoveries. He lived in a village called Kaluga. Kaluga, yeah, that seems right. A small town. This is a lot of guesswork on these pronunciations, folks.
Look, the motto for any Russian topic is good enough.
Yeah. And he spent most of his life in this small town. And the early part of the 1900s was another tumultuous time for him. In 1902, his son committed suicide. In 1908, a lot of his papers and research were lost in a flash flood. And in 1911, his daughter was arrested for engaging in revolutionary activities, supporting the Bolshevik Revolution, which, incidentally, Konstantin also supported. He developed science and philosophy around space travel at the time. Among a few of the things that he had early conceptions for were thrusters, multi-stage boosters, space stations, airlocks, closed-cycle oxygen, things of that nature. There's going to be more later, because they were, doled out over the list of as I was reading, they just were kind of doled out piecemeal. But that's just a start of the things that he had early research into.
But a lot of shit that was almost 100 years after his time, really?
Yeah. That was, kind of the basis for, what would eventually be implemented much longer after, long after he was dead. The first paper that he ever submitted to a scientific organization in the 1880s, specifically 1881, was this work on the theory and nature of gases. And it was rejected because he had apparently been aware these discoveries had been made 25 years earlier. So he was right. It's just he didn't know somebody already did it. It's like he made an app for rideshare, and then it was well, actually, I hate to tell you.
Okay, well, what about a thing where you post your pictures and everyone can like and see them?
Yeah, that seems even more fundamental than rideshare.
Jeez, oh no. I'm not even trying a Russian accent on that one.
But he was not deterred. He kept working on airships, on hovercraft technology, and on rocket ships, of course. He was interested in creating this all-metal dirigible that could grow or shrink, theoretically. I assume, I didn't get more details. I would assume it has to do with the temperature of the metal.
Right.
But, that was one of his ideas. As far as I know, no such aircraft was ever made. He created the first aeronautics lab in all of Russia inside of his apartment in the 1890s.
It's fucking DIY space shit.
Pretty much, yeah. He was trotting untrodden ground in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And he began winning grants at around that time. And moved on to heavier than air travel as a new thought experiment, specifically early conceptions of airplanes. He suspected that some version of his early designs would come to fruition within 20 years. This was the 1890s, so I don't think that's too far off.
Yeah, no, that's basically right on.
Yeah. He anticipated a lot of later advancements, but he actually, as time wore on, got less and less official response and respect because a lot of his ideas, justly and unjustly, were kind of deemed pretty out there. So I don't think a lot of people were excited by them. They seemed a little too far-fetched, I think, for the masses.
Right.
He became disillusioned by his diminishing grants and diminishing response to his work. So he actually refocused during World War I, up until the 1917 revolution, on creating anti-poverty measures within Russia, which were probably needed. But
yes, I think we could safely get rid of the probably in that.
Yeah, turned out the most successful anti-poverty measure was not one of the ones he came up with so much as murdering the Romanovs. So I don't know. Maybe that was what he had fiddled with.
It's thinking outside the box, really.
As I said, he definitely supported the revolution. He was like fully on board for it.
Right.
As was anybody who wasn't rich, it seems like.
Yeah. Yep. Russia, 1917.
Some of his
kind of fucked.
Yep.
After that point, he made more advantages in multi-stage rocket science, such as liquid fuel. Proved mathematically that rockets could theoretically achieve space flight. And a lot of this became basis for later spacecraft. He had gas rudders. There's like 40 more rocket things. Oxidizers, return trajectory, liquid oxygen and hydrogen. Basically stuff that none of us know what it means, but he came up with the idea for them.
Yeah, it sounds impressive. I'm sure it's helpful. No fucking idea.
It could just be stuff that like somebody put on the internet as a joke. Like these don't exist. They sound like they exist.
Yeah.
Airlocks, I've heard of those, but beyond that,
just put liquid in front of something. It'll sound to most people like it makes sense in a rocket.
Yeah. It was actually the recipe for Everclear.
Yeah, it's just a homemade limoncello, basically, at a certain point.
He had a proposition for a train that sort of ran on this air cushion in 1927, the idea of which was largely adapted for express trains later on. So he did not strictly work in the extraterrestrial realm. But he was often pessimistic that his theories would ever be implemented by anybody, in part probably because of the diminishing response. Mm-hmm. He had a love of music and also would write theses and essays about the way music worked and things of that nature, though they are sort of less remembered than a lot of his rocket science.
So basically nowadays he'd write for Pitchfork.
Yeah, he was very, very hip. He thought Coachella sold out. He predicted Bonnaroo starting to suck about 40 years before it was even created. He also supported revolution, as I said. And after the revolution, he was elected to the Socialist Academy. He was granted a lifetime pension there in 1918, which is, shortly after the revolution. So good for him. Late in his life, his work started to get acknowledged more and more, but he was slightly unpopular because he had also expressed support for eugenics, which dampened his popularity at the time.
I missed that part in choosing topics.
Yeah. He influenced a lot of later scientists, as you might guess. He died September 19th of 1935 after an operation to deal with his stomach cancer, because this was 1935 and, that's what you did. You either died of the stomach cancer or you died of the operation. Those were the options. His life's work was left to the Soviet state. And he, as I mentioned, believed humans would one day conquer the stars, basically conquer, they would have the whole galaxy to explore, basically. In 1989, he was finally inducted into the Air and Space Hall of Fame. And while some of his ideas were impractical, many were later used. Putin actually named a town after him in 2015. So, you know,
Oh.
yeah. And he also has various tributes in video games, specifically Warhammer and Assassin's Creed.
Wait, what?
And there is a character in the anime Mobile Suit Gundam 00 that is based on Tsiolkovsky. So there is that is the legacy of this man. If you watch Gundam,
Sham Man.
Those last three I was not expecting at all. Especially Assassin's Creed of all.
yeah. So if you watch Gundam, I think the character's name is William or something, but you can look it up yourself. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Look.
And that is the true history of Konstantin Tsiolkovsky.
Look, I don't want to get into a whole thing. I don't know any fucking anime. So don't write us emails about it. We don't care.
I've seen Death Note. I watched half of Cowboy Bebop and was like, I don't feel the need to finish this. So
one day
we are
I will
not
watch
your target.
Akira, and I've seen an episode of Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to watch Pokemon.
There's
Is
Pokemon.
that-
Yeah,
I did watch the shit out of some Pokemon.
all 90s children have some exposure to Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, and Sailor Moon, to be fair.
It's
Yeah,
true. It's true. That's as far as it went for me. I remember watching it like a one that I was over some guy's house and like a puppy got thrown against a wall in this anime show and I was
Oh,
like,
thank God, in the anime. Jesus.
and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Yeah, that's
It was so sad. Okay.
reasonable.
I was like, why is there a cartoon puppy getting thrown against the wall? It still
You
hurts.
can draw
it still
anything.
hurts a lot.
You have, over the course of your life, cut out any form of entertainment where animal violence occurs in any fashion, which is why you no longer read books, watch movies, watch
It
TV.
stays with me the rest of the film. Even in Oh Brother Where Art Thou, when he smushes up that frog and throws it against the tree, it broke my heart.
Oh, that's a deep cut. Yeah.
I have not actually seen that.
It's such a quick scene. You would be like, "Oh, that," but it's so sad.
that's
It's
the
so
one that-
I think it's like the villainous John Goodman
Yes.
Polyphemus stand-in character.
yes, and he just becomes so mean. And you're like, "Oh no, he's bad."
Yeah. I mean, he's at a Klan rally later,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is arguably worse. Debatably worse
You
than
find
killing a
out he's in the
frog.
Clan- I thought you find out he's in the clan afterwards.
It's later. It's after the frog scene.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, that's why you're like, "Oh, what the heck?" And then you're like, "Oh, that makes sense." Yeah,
The
Like,
frog
the
is to
clan-
prime
the
you
clan
for the
comes
clan.
after the frog trauma, and then you're like,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the classic way. The clan path, of course, is kill a frog, step 1, then clan, step 2. It's how everybody
Talk about
gets
in drama.
radicalized.
I'm not saying
Yes.
everyone who's ever killed a frog is in the clan.
You want to be a
Why-
prince?
Why are so many of the alt-right symbols frogs? Well, that is why.
Why do the guys look like frogs?
Katie, whenever you're ready with the
All
alternate.
right. Well, I hate to break it to you guys, but Konstantin Edwardovich Slavoski, actually, like, he was involved in rocket scientists, but he was actually a part of the Russian space program for dogs. Parentheses, some cats. The
So,
program was really
after
just all
being
dogs.
offended by this anime where dogs are hurt, you're like, let's make an alternate.
I know they're just on my mind still. It was really hard doing this research.
Hey, Leica, we're coming for you.
Yes. So the program was really all just dogs. There was a couple cats that didn't make it back. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
And so I know. So the dogs, there's lots of dogs in Russia, so it wasn't hard. It was actually easier at the time to find more dogs to go to space than people. When they
It was
asked
a
the
mostly
dogs, the
dog
dogs were
nation.
like, sure, they looked pretty happy about it. So they sent the dogs. So Konstantin,
I mean, that's probably not far off from a lot of the ways they evaluated these animals.
I mean,
I know.
having
it's
owned
so
a dog,
sad.
I could ask it almost anything in the right tone of voice, and it would be pretty psyched.
It's such a-
Do you want to go to space? Oh, no.
it's such a
Who's
sad
not gonna come
image.
back?
Okay. Why am I so dark? Okay. So yes, this research was really, need therapy afterwards. Okay, so Konstantin was born in 1857, year of the snake, obviously. Who else would send a bunch of happy dogs into space? They don't know why they're going into space. They're dogs, but they did a lot of stuff in this year. Konstantin was deaf. He met his, he lost a lot of his hearing. So he got a service dog, and that service dog's name was Joan. And Joan taught him, like, one day he was like, man, Joan's so smart. Like, I bet he could go to space. And so, and yes, Konstantin's dad was like so worried about him, cause he had like all his friends were just dogs. Like they got him the service dog, but then all the other like stray dogs in Russia just started following him and Joan around because Joan was just such a smart dog. And then all these other dogs started getting very smart. They were delivering pizzas on bikes and driving around the city. It was just like this really weird place.
It's sad that these dogs get so smart, yet they're stuck in these manual
they're service
labor
animals.
jobs.
I know you got to tip. The service industry's real over there. And so, and they're all just these dogs from only Kaluga. So
this
then
is classic gig economy bullshit.
He is. And so then he became an astro canine enthusiast, which just stands for throwing dogs up in space. I have written down here, math plus dogs equals space travel.
I think their flag was literally a picture of a man throwing a dog at the stars.
Oh my god, yes. And that's what they did. And so they put a bunch of dogs out into space. And then they found out that dogs have actually been traveling through space before humans even figured it out. We just didn't even realize it. I don't know if you've seen Marley and Me. Wait, not Marley and Me. What is it? The story of a dog. It's the dog that's just dying and becoming. He's like, it was the same dog that died.
A dog's purpose. That's what
it was. The same dog that died. Like. In the next few dogs that the family adopted, they space travel all the time. The dogs that are in your house right now, that's the dog from like when George Washington was alive.
He was right. They conquered space and achieved immortality.
Yes. Yeah, so dogs really do live forever. The kids will be so excited about this.
The fucking alternate theory that all dogs go to heaven is bullshit.
Yeah.
The truth is dogs are immortal.
They are Buddhists,
and have no
actually.
purpose for heaven.
Yes. They just get reincarnated, Same brain, different dog. I did read a Buddhist proverb that said that dogs are just people that are stuck in the dog realm because they were naughty in another realm. I don't know why they are naughty.
What a proverb. It's so pithy. It teaches us all a lesson.
And I remember you guys mentioned things, diggeribbles, and
didgeridoos, DiGiornos,
airlocks. Those are just dog
Digimon.
toys. Those are just their stress toys. We get stress balls. You got diggerigables.
It does sound like a brand of dog toy.
Yeah, airlocks. Airlock Bud. Little Bud airlock.
Airlock Bud is a very different move. I'm thinking of Gravity, but with Air Bud.
Okay, now here's a really important part. If you look closely at Konstantin as he got older, when he started getting actual like headshots or paint, I don't know what those kind of photos are.
Well, he can afford headshots.
He got headshots. He slowly started to take on that looks like a bulldog. And so he became the dog. You know what I mean? And it's sad because he never really did go to space like the dogs because it was a species thing. We couldn't get humans into space. It was just the dogs and cats all the time. Well, the cats still never came back. And this is all history that was lost, just like our good friend Zach was saying, because one, he supported the Bolshevik Revolution and they destroyed it, but also all of those people during that time period were actually cat people and they just didn't want to hear it. So they just destroyed all of the evidence. And then cover it up with eugenics, making the dogs look like the dogs were racist. They just kept telling everyone my dog's racist, And then he died of stomach cancer. But it was really probably one of those dog toys just playing with the dogs. He became a dog. Became a
You're saying he ate a piece of rubber from a dog toy and it killed him.
Yeah.
Oh, because I thought you were saying like he like became like his soul absorbed into a dog toy and then like transferred into a
It's
dog.
like a Horcrux.
It's like an Oh Heavenly Dog situation or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Or like a Shaggy DA sort of thing.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of more movies.
Yeah, he's actually been, and then he came back as a cat at some point, and you might have seen him in Hocus Pocus.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Thackeray
That's
Binks.
his real ghost.
Oh, so he's also like he's a working actor also now. I mean, good for him. Like,
Yeah, he might have been. Was he that cat in
He
the
was really
Sabrina
hip.
show from the
He's a very
90s?
hip man.
he was the Salem in both the Melissa Joan Hart Sabrina and the Netflix Sabrina.
You know, that cat doesn't talk in the Netflix Sabrina, and it's some bullshit.
Yeah,
That is
that's
some shitty shit.
it. Just meows and
He
it's
was
like
also Wishbone.
Heavy prosthetics.
At one point, he just became two, and he was cat dog. He was a dog and a cat.
Oh, God damn it, Katie! Thank you.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I don't even know. That wasn't even a story. It was
No,
just.
it worked.
It was the traumatizing truth
Yeah,
and reality of Konstantin
Sometimes truth is messy.
Edwardvik.
Before we move on, listeners, I just want to say, hey, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/therevisionists. There's some retooled tiers that make it easier for you to like support us. And if you don't have money, don't fucking worry about it. Or whatever. Something you could do if you don't have money is review this show on iTunes or your podcast service of choice, because that is very helpful. Check. Sorry, Zach. Go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
also, if you don't have money, you literally can't use Patreon, period. It is required.
Yes, it is the basis.
And if you don't have money, like, you should not be listening to this podcast. You should have some amount of money.
If you don't have enough money to throw at a podcast,
You can join the aerospace dog administration.
yeah, I mean,
We'll send you. We'll send you to space.
send you. That's the thing. If you don't have money, just get sent to space. Have you thought about that? Bloomberg 2020. Sorry.
Oh my goodness, for sure.
You can also ask us a question or leave us a comment at revisionistpodcast.com or reach us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Katie, you're a comic and you are hilarious and you're all around.
Thank you.
Is there anything in particular you wanted to plug?
I just run a couple shows in Denver you can check out at Call to Arms Brewing Company every second and last Wednesday, and Sushi High every Thursday.
Yeah, the Call to Arms show is fantastic.
Yeah, we just had Brian on. He did great.
Thank you. Zach, did you want to mention anything?
Sure. I am still involved in former guest Shannon Kemp's Little Women, a modern audio drama, a podcast. I think I have one more scene left to record because it's winding down. I think there's less than a month left of new episodes before it concludes. But it is still out there. All past episodes available wherever you get your podcasts, and they alternate between the sort of audio drama episodes and then bonus episodes about the history of the time and the book and the author and things of that nature.
Awesome. Well, listeners, that brings us to the judgment phase, and I'm torn because on the one hand, I like the sheer chaotic energy of Katie's alternate history. I am also, though, a cat person.
I know. I
as
knew I was
anyone
gonna lose him there.
who is.
I'm a cat person, you guys. Oh my god.
It's
This
true.
is just the truth.
I've never seen Katie Bowman harm a cat. I've never seen anything I've never heard anything, certainly. That's not the most full-throated defense. But so I think
I just discovered something disturbing, but maybe appropriate. If you search Revisionists on iTunes, one of the couple podcasts that comes up ahead of ours, obviously you know that Malcolm Gladwell shit comes up. But also, the third hit for Revisionists is The Ben Shapiro Show.
Oh, Christ. Really?
It is a kind of revisionism, so I guess it's appropriate.
It's not the fun kind.
No, it's the kind that harms the nation.
That is... Ugh. Man, right... Yeah, when we started the show, it was like, no one else has a name like this, and now it's the worst people.
Yeah, Gladwell stole our fucking thunder on that one. He started his show after ours, that asshole.
Yeah, and even Gladwell is like the worst.
Yeah.
He's not Ben Shapiro, but Jesus Christ.
No, totally.
But I will say, solely in defense of cats, both the animal and the 2019 film, I'm going to cast my vote for the actual history.
Oh my goodness.
But listeners...
The truth hurts.
But listeners, voting is now open on Patreon, and check it out next Wednesday on Instagram to have your say. And tell me I'm wrong, as you so often do. But Katie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was so fun again.
Yeah. Zach,
Always
thank
a
you
good
as
time.
always.
Of course.
Thank you, Zach. It was good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
See you later.
For everyone here at the Revisionists, including the cats.
No cats were harmed, or dogs.
Or dogs, yeah. Again, no animals ever harmed in making the show.
That you know of. I record remotely. You don't know what I'm doing.
Oh no!
Yeah, he's just sitting on a chinchilla.
He's just throwing dogs.
Do you guys
in
like
place.
this frog in my hand?
Oh no!
Ah,
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, given
I know, he just
given what
throws
we've
it.
discussed
He
that
just
means.
throws it like it's so sad.
It was such a casual toss too.
I know. He just crumbles it up like a piece of paper. He basically blew his nose with that frog and then threw it.
Which you don't want to do because salmonella. That might be turtles. Now that I think of it.
yeah. Frogs are nature's tissues. Also, sometimes you
It's like a Shrek tissue.
sometimes you get high. Sometimes you get high, and sometimes you get poisoned. So
We gotta find ways to get high these days.
Is that like? I mean, we don't need to discuss this. Do people actually get high by like interacting with frogs in that way?
they say that licking frogs gets you high. There are certainly frogs that can,
Kill
like, one of the most poisonous things on the planet
ultimate
is.
high.
poison darts, man.
Yeah, there's like a frog in Brazil that has enough poison on it to kill like 500 people.
Oh my god. When I went to the lake this summer, I picked up a little froggy and showed it to everyone at the barbecue, and then I put it down and I went to go make a cocktail and totally grabbed ice cubes out of my little thing, forgetting that I was holding a goddamn frog. And I was just drinking this drink like, great, I just like drank weird frog skin ice.
I mean, I'm sure
If
it was
I was like
okay.
trying to get high over there, I was like, oh no. But yeah.
Well, for everyone here at the Revisionists, I'm Brian Flynn.
I'm Zach Powers.
I'm Katie Bowman. Oh,
Sorry.
sorry, guys.
Look, go lick some frogs, people, and email us your results. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, you're not going to do your catchphrase.
Oh yeah, have a good time.